Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 26th of June. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Jeremy Rosens.
Jim, great to have you on as Gary has failed to show up yet again. Week in, week out, he just seems to be nowhere.
Do you know what's frightening is that we often talk and we joke about how he's got an island and a boat in the Bahamas.
Yep.
I actually think that he does. I reckon he's gone and bought it in the off season and he
hasn't told us about it. Yeah. Well, Gary, just viewers, in case you didn't know, he's in Sicily because that's what you do now apparently in a Melbourne winter. You don't go to Queensland anymore.
Not anymore.
You go to Sicily.
It's a bit too pedestrian for Gary now, Queensland.
And I was somewhat amused as I got him on FaceTime last night and he was complaining about the weather because it's cold in Sicily.
Yeah.
It's never cold in Sicily except for the week
freezing.
the Piers got there, and it's raining, it's miserable. Bad luck, I say. Bad luck. What's news with you? Good to have you on the show.
Living the dream, Phil. Living the dream.
Yeah.
Having a great time. It's been a busy weekend, Phil.
Yes.
A very busy weekend.
We had some amazing results. In fact, before we get those towers up, viewers, we talk week in, weekend about our processes, and I'm so proud to say yet again, we've smashed the industry average. I think we sold 19 out of 23? 24.
Yes.
19 out of 24, which gives us a 79% clearance rate.
Correct.
Against the industry average of 60%.
62 I read this morning.
Oh, don't let the facts
60,
get in the way of a
62.
good story. It was
A lot
much
lower
better
than ours.
Yeah, 100%. So well done to the entire team of Gary Pier & Associates. Well done to our successful vendors. And to those vendors that didn't sell, we are on the case, working hard to get them over the line. We had some interesting results across the weekend, and I want to talk about one of the results that you were involved in, which was a house in Kelburn, Kelburn Grove in Caulfield North.
Or road or street.
Kelburn Road. It's a street, a road that I do cut through on a regular basis. It's beautiful.
The street.
But fascinating what can happen in our market, because we had a bid, and whilst the buyer will remain nameless, we had a bid of $2 million.
Yes.
That buyer did not increase his offer, correct me if I'm right.
You're right so far.
Yep, and that buyer said, look, I may increase my offer here, but I'm going to go to an auction that you guys have got in Findon Avenue.
That's correct.
Now, Findon Avenue and Kelburn are about 500 metres apart.
Yes, both very blue chip.
So the house that you had the offer on $2 million in Kelburn was completely unrenovated.
Yes.
Completely.
Yep.
In fact, only just livable from a backpacker's point of view.
Yes.
And the house in Findon Avenue was beautifully renovated.
Yeah, a nice home.
So the buyer went from Kelburn to have a look at what the house was like in Findon Avenue.
Yeah.
Bought the house in Findon Avenue for many hundreds of thousands of dollars more.
Yes, correct.
So don't you
Not
love...
a phone call I wanted to take on Sunday afternoon, by the way.
No, it would have been hard to ring your vendor and say we've lost our buyer to an auction. But that's what happens, viewers. Once a buyer is in the market, they're absolutely raring to go, and they are going from property to property to property.
They are.
And we do say to a lot of our vendors, when we think the price is right, we say to them, if the buyer leaves, two things might happen. They might cool down and regret the offer that they made on the property that they've just left.
It's like a block of ice, Phil. Holding a block of ice in your hand.
Yes,
the
go
longer
on.
you hold it, it turns to water.
There you go. That is,
fascinating
I don't think we've
stuff.
ever used that on
Well, I
GPTV.
use it quite, not on GPTV, because that's very highbrow for GPTV,
Right,
Phil.
right.
That's kind of intellectual knowledge there.
Is that a Jeremy Rose-ism?
I'll take it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, you kind of interrupted the story.
Well, I apologise.
Your block of ice theory, yes,
Yes.
the buyer walks away and either
Yes.
cools down on that property, or you do run the risk of them going round the corner, going to another auction and buying, and that's what happened there. Having said that, that story does have a happy ending.
It
Tell us
does,
about
Phil.
that.
It has a happy ending because the phone rang off the hook on Sunday about
Yes.
Kelburn, and we sold it very late in the wee hours of last night. And sold it for a price that's undisclosed, but significantly higher than what it passed in for at auction.
Yes, okay. So it does have a very, very happy ending.
Yes,
that story.
I think so.
Had the buyer that paid the higher price, that
Yes.
wasn't at the auction, had they been through during the campaign?
No, one of them, well, there were two offers post-auction.
Yes.
One of them was at the auction, and the other gentleman hadn't been through with us, no.
Right. Okay. Well, great story, and just goes to show that our systems, our processes work brilliantly well. So a nice story there.
A good ending.
You did some auctions across the weekend?
I did an auction in Glen Huntly Road of this one-bedroom apartment, Phil, which was, you know, for those that think that the market is not as good as what it was 6 months ago, we had 5 people bidding for this apartment in Elstonwick. and it sold well above reserve.
So I see that it sold for almost 10% above the top end of our price range.
Yeah.
Now, a one-bedroom apartment, first of all, $466, I think, was the selling price. That is a lot of money for a one-bedroom apartment, so firstly. And then secondly, to have 5 people bidding in a market, viewers, that buyers are trying to tell us that the market has changed. And whilst it has changed, I think we've found a new status quo.
I think so.
Or a new equilibrium, if you like.
I think that what's happened, buyers are now very much, you know, if you wanted to buy 6 months ago, you still want to buy today. And I think that this talk of the market not being as strong as what it was, the only thing that's not strong is volume. But there's activity, there's bidding, and across the weekend we had multiple bids from multiple parties at multiple auctions and sold a number of homes above our reserve. Which we will talk about in a moment's time.
And speaking of apartments and the marketplace, we had an apartment at unit number 6 or apartment number 6 at 70 Orong Crescent, which is an iconic Caulfield North building.
An amazing
a Holger and Holger building. This is really architecture at its finest, a 1960s postmodernist piece of architecture. We had 100...
You're just showing off now, Phil.
How was that? We had 100 people at that apartment at a 4:30 auction, which, viewers, we start our auctions from as early as 9:30, take them through as late as 4:30, but 4:30 on a winter's afternoon is somewhat of a challenge. 100 people showed up. Amazing. We had 5 people bidding and sold it for $975,000, which is about $150,000 more than an apartment was sold in that building last year in supposedly a better market.
So how can we say that the market is not strong, Phil?
And we talked in our sales meeting yesterday, Jeremy, about this very issue. Where is the market up to? And we talked about the fact that we think that the market has found a status quo. We think, yes, it did pull back, but buyers are re-emerging, and a lot of our auctions are highly contested, 2, 3, 4 bidders. Now, contested auctions are not a sign of a weak or poor market.
No, you're right, Phil, and I think that that's really got to be the message. And you know, the doom and gloom from the newspapers has probably stopped now, because I think the agents are starting to report a bit more activity. Keep in mind though, I think stock levels are still a little bit low, which is probably still driving the market, because if you want to buy, you've only got a limited amount of choice.
So are you saying if we had a lot more stock on the market, the results might not be there?
Maybe. I think that might provide buyers with, or at least vendors with, a bit more of a challenging scenario, but for the moment, we're having activity.
So I see this as a move forward for potential sellers. We think that there will probably be a very busy spring, because in this turn around of a marketplace, a lot of people do sit on their hands and wait. I see a real opportunity for potential sellers coming through to the market in July, August, September, which is the 3 months before the big window of October, November and spring. I think if I pick up on your point about if there was more stock on the market, would the market be performing as well? I think we could handle easily another 20% more listings without seeing that change, because you know, having 5 bidders on Orong Crescent means that it still would have been a good result with 2. So I think that there is plenty of opportunity for sellers to come forward and be selling over the next few months.
I agree. I also think that people are forgetting that the prices that we're still achieving now, whether they be with 1, 2 or 3 bidders, is still better than when we thought it had peaked out. So let's not lose sight of that, because the prices are still very strong.
Absolutely.
And the market's still very strong. And that is not just a real estate spin, a real estate agent spin rather, on the market, because the facts are there.
Without question. So
standing by it, Phil.
I think it's an exciting time, and any potential sellers watching this show should be coming forward, at least having a conversation, so we can drill down deeper into the market for you. So speaking of auction activity, Jeremy, another big weekend as we close out the financial year. This Saturday happens to be the 30th of June. So if there's any tax accountants watching, I'm wondering, if you actually sign a contract on Saturday, does that enable you to put that down as a purchase, or do you have to settle?
I think far be it from me to give professional advice from an accountant's point of view. I would have thought it's also not a business day technically. So is it the Friday?
I'm not sure that that's relevant.
Consult your financial advisor or your accountant. Do we get any cash for comment here?
All accounting transactions, you should always consult a professional, being obviously your real estate agent at Gary Peer & Associates, but also your tax accountant. But Saturday is the last year of the financial year, last day of the financial year. Let's talk about number 57 Frederick Street. What a great offering that is through the Leon Guzenfitter team.
I love this one, Phil, and I love love the heading on the board. It's picture perfect and perfectly positioned. We've had a number of great sales in Frederick Street, and this is another home that is delightful from the street, and even better when you walk through the home.
Well, didn't you just have an incredible result in Frederick?
I did, Phil, but we're not talking about that incredible result, only for the mere fact that it's not about them, it's about 57
but
Frederick.
I do bring it to the attention of anybody looking to buy this property, because this is a single-fronted attached home,
yes, this is relevant.
Of which the last sale that you made in Frederick Street was in excess of $1.5 million.
It was beautifully renovated, and what you can do. So this has got 2 bedrooms, a sunroom, a big living area, kitchen, family. This is a great home, Phil.
Pretty home too, with a price guide of $910 to $1 million. So that looks like terrific buying opportunity. Now we have an auction of the week, according to the sales team, at number 36 Augusta Street in Glen Huntly, where we've set a price record before.
Exciting, we have. In fact, you have, and this is another beautiful Art Deco home, Phil. Traditional character with a modern day twist. And as you look through here, this outdoor entertaining area is as good as it gets. A beautifully renovated kitchen, ample accommodation, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and even more off-street parking.
Price guide there of 1.3 to 1.43. Come along, viewers, and have a coffee there, because the van will be there in force, and we're expecting some competitive bidding there. So it'll be interesting to get a somewhat of a litmus test for the market in Glen Huntly. But I love that street, and I love that
what's
pocket.
Great about it now, that park on the corner of Buran and Glen Huntly Road is
unbelievable.
As good
have you taken
your
kids there?
I've taken them there.
Do they love it?
I've even gone them without there.
Right. Okay.
Sorry,
that
gone
is
there
just
without them.
That's seriously weird.
No, because there's a basketball area, and then we had a bit of a play around.
Right. Okay.
Friends and I, yes.
Okay. Okay. If you see Jeremy Rosens hanging around
in a trench coat
in a children's park, do me a favour, call me on my mobile before he does get arrested. Yes. Moving to an apartment in one of my favourite streets of East St Kilda, which is Hughenden Road, number 12.
How good is Hughenden Road?
Oh, it's great. It's
beautiful. It's one of the most underrated streets in St Kilda. It's a beautiful tree-lined avenue.
And it's wide, and it's brilliantly located to the Armour Village, and walking distance, of course, to the tram and Dandenong Road. We've got apartment number 12 at 24 Hughenden Road. Tell us about that. That's being handled by Ben Eisner.
This is a beautifully sized apartment, Phil, with 2 spacious bedrooms, a fabulous lounge area that flows into this beautiful balcony. It is sun-drenched, it is big, and it's got the loveliest parquetry floors that you'll find.
You've got to love a parquetry floor. And viewers, what I would suggest, if you're thinking about coming to that auction, do check online. There has been some activity, might sell before auction, so stay tuned on that. Yes. We move to Sycamore Grove in St Kilda East, apartment number 5 at 60 Sycamore Grove. Let's have a look at this.
Another Art Deco gem, this one, Phil. I've got to tell you, the amount of inquiry that we have for buyers looking for older style apartments is superb, and this is just a prime example of how apartments should be laid out and how they should look. Beautiful clinker brick older style Art Deco, again 2 spacious bedrooms, kitchen flowing into the family, little balcony as well, and a car space.
Thank you for that lovely dissertation of that property, Jeremy. Speaking of lovely dissertations, there's something particularly lovely about you today that I'd like to just talk to the viewers, because a lot of viewers switch into a lot of the viewers watch this not just so much for a real estate show, but it's a bit of a style show.
Is it?
And I've been looking at you as you've been glowingly talking about the properties, and I noticed that you're wearing a jacket today, a suit, very nice suit, very nice fabric.
Thank you.
But a couple of different things about it. You've gone with the wide lapel,
yes, it's a new thing we've started.
And a soft shoulder.
So, a Neapolitan shoulder, they call it.
So tell us about that, because I'm looking at mine. I'm thinking maybe I'm out of fashion.
Well, I would say that you're well behind the times, Phil. It's a classic suit that you're wearing, but it's certainly, well, it's probably, well, the suit styles have changed, Phil. We're going for a little bit more of a sort of a bit more Italian flair. This was, I don't know if I should say the name of the company. They're called the Suit Shop. Maybe they'll give me a free suit for this little plug. I've tried that. They didn't work with them. But this is the
wider lapels, softer shoulder.
And unlined as well, Phil. It's got no lining inside.
So it's got no padding here. It's got no lining.
It's a deconstructed suit, Phil.
Do they still charge the same price?
A little bit more. It's like faded jeans and ripped jeans. They charge you more to be on the cutting edge of fashion.
Well, I've got to tell you, Jeremy, you do look just a treat, and I might well scurry into the suit shop and buy myself a deconstructed Neapolitan suit with wide lapels and soft shoulders. Can't wait.
I'm glad that you did say it's like you took notes there.
No, I did. I'm a very observant person. Jeremy, let's get back to focusing on real estate. We've got Castles Road in Bentley. Take us through this.
You love to live on a road that was called Castle. Like someone says, where do you live? I live in Castles Road in Bentley. It's a great address. Anyway, this is lifestyle and location. It doesn't get any better than this single level home. Great living over one level, fabulous accommodation, 3 bedrooms, the master with ensuite, a main bathroom, and a living area that flows perfectly. It's a little L-shaped lounge and dining off the kitchen. It flows perfectly. It's got a double garage and and a courtyard garden. Part
of our Bentley growing story, which is very exciting. Peter Sinclair is handling that. I've got the auction honours, as I do have auction honours at 3:30 on Saturday at number 1C Heatherbray Avenue, a magnificent property. Tell me about this.
Well, Phil, if you're looking for a brand new home in Caulfield South, you would need look no further than this property. 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, living over 2 levels. It is exquisitely designed, beautifully put together, landscaped, design, perfect. It's got a downstairs bedroom as well.
Yep.
This floor plan is perfect. It's got one of those back rooms that is brilliant.
Stay tuned again, viewers, because there has been some activity on that. There may be a sold sticker on the board this week. So please, if you're thinking about coming to that one, check online before you do so.
Yes.
Sunday the 1st of July, which is really, we're talking about mid-winter. Not much happening. We've only got, we've got 2 auctions, one at 11:30 and one at 1:30, both being handled by Leon, and both I've got auction honours on. We are currently sitting at our 11:30 Sunday auction. And we're in Kooyong Road. What an incredible home. I'm loving sitting in front of this fireplace.
It's warming me up, Phil. It's very toasty. This is a great
Tell us about this property.
Well, this is it harks back to the old English times.
Yes.
With the clinker brick Tudor style. This is at the front of the block. There's 3 in here.
Only 3?
This is a big home, Phil.
Yep.
This home seems to just go on for days. This living area is massive and a beautiful little kind of window out to the scene of this front garden, which is perfect. You can see behind us we've got a beautiful open fireplace. I think it's a gas log fireplace, but it's still emitting a great deal of heat. Kitchen being renovated upstairs, ample accommodation, your choice of, it's 4 bedrooms, multiple bathrooms.
The bathrooms have been stunningly renovated too.
This is as good as it gets.
Look, I've always loved this property. As I drove down Kooyong Road, I can't help but always notice it because the red clinker brick is beautiful. Yeah. We've got off-street car parking. We've got a gorgeous private courtyard garden at the rear, an incredible family room also at the rear, which is massive. So this whilst technically we could call it a townhouse, I think it's more a home than it is anything.
Call it a home,
yeah,
Phil.
I think we can. And brilliantly located between Alma Road and Inkerman, so a really standout position. One last auction on Sunday. As I've mentioned, only 2 on Sunday. The last one we do at 1:30, which is number 3 Clark Avenue, which is what Mark Twain says we should invest in. Mark Twain, the famous American novelist, said many, many years ago, he said, Jeremy, we didn't say Jeremy.
He didn't say that.
But he said, invest in land, they're not making any more of it. And I've got to tell you, I've said that about 1,000 times, but it still resonates with me.
Certainly does.
A big parcel of land, tell us about this.
890 square, no, let me start that again, Phil, I don't know what came over me. 893 square metres of prime west rear facing land in the heart of Caulfield South. Number 3 Clark Avenue in Caulfield, I should say.
893 square metres, Jeremy. The typical allotment of land is somewhere around 650 square metres, so a good almost 30% larger than the average allotment. The bonus there too is a massive frontage.
Yep.
So for those developers that are looking at this block, a 19.5 metre frontage, and keep in mind the average frontage is just under 15.3 metres. So a developer's opportunity there.
Absolutely.
Clark Avenue is a brilliant address.
Beautiful street in Caulfield.
So that's the wrap of the sales that were and the sales that will be this weekend. Jeremy, your thoughts for the winter months?
Well, I've given you them at the beginning of the show, but my thoughts are to rug up because it's getting cold in Melbourne, but there's still activity. There's still an exciting vibe around Melbourne. And I'm not at all deterred by the winter.
No.
And most of the agents have gone away anyway to Italy and all these fabulous places, maybe to look for inspiration for suits, I don't know. But those that are on the ground, like you and I, Phil, are getting the deals done because there's buyers aplenty. It's a good time.
It is a great time, viewers. If you're thinking about selling over the next couple of months, you really do need to come forward, and we would recommend it because we think it will be a busy spring, as those that have sat on their hands through winter wondering what to do will come to the market probably October, November. But there is so much heat in the market. There is so many competitive auctions that we're holding, so many underbidders looking for things. So we can certainly recommend come forward now, because spring you'll just get, there'll be clutter. There'll be a lot of clutter.
Do you think that Gary's going to be watching this from his satellite TV on the boat?
Oh, there's every chance. There's every chance that he will, you know, he's sitting in the jacuzzi on his boat watching GPTV somewhere in the Mediterranean.
I know he'll critique what I've done, and I'm not looking forward to getting an email as to what I didn't do right and what I didn't say. So if you are watching, Gary, you don't have any liberty to write anything to me, because you're not here and I have to sit in this seat. So you can't get to critique how good or bad we were, because if you didn't like it, you should come back and do it.
Well, we do, of course, like Jeremy to finish on a positive.
No, that was just a little message for Gary.
And high note, viewers.
Whom we miss.
I hope that you achieved everything that you wanted to in the financial year 17-18. As of Sunday, we bounced the ball again. We're excited for a new financial year. We're excited for every auction and every Saturday and Sunday, because we love what we do. Jem, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, viewers, for watching. My name's Philip Kingston. Have a fabulous week.
See you next time.